This is really like pleasant. This is a story about one of the craziest burnouts I've ever seen in my life. The source of smoke and rubber is Tom Hatcher's Trailblazer SS, a vehicle so low-key awesome. When we were saying we were heading up to Washington State, people who know about these type of things told us, oh yeah, you gotta film that. Trailblazer SS is such a cool flex. I was gonna say that I think these things are slept on, but that's not even true at all because they aren't. People know that they're cool as hell. What I want to know is, did you buy this stock or was it modified when you first got it?
No, I bought it bone stock off a good friend of mine about 2.5 years ago. It was still all-wheel drive at the time. Has a lot of miles on it, 200 and almost 10,000, I think.
Oh, hell yeah, that's awesome. Your vision was murdered out, carbon hood.
There was no vision, there never is a vision, really. Just build as I go. Once I saw actually how clean the body was and everything, I like building unique stuff. There's other people who build them all the time, but to this level, I don't think anything close to it.
And the majority of this thing wasn't built in a place like this. It was built by you?
Yeah, by me in my garage. I work at a shop, so here and there, put it on a lift, Not all the time though. Most of the stuff's done on my back or, just bending over the hood.
Yeah, 100%. This, to me, is the epitome of American tune because it's the ingenuity of how do I make that possible without, having everything at my disposal. And with the internet nowadays, you've got the ability to do these levels of build. So you can enjoy a monstrous amount of power. You can enjoy a 88 millimeter turbo singing. You can enjoy swapping to ethanol, partially because the internet gives you so much information. And then of course you just have the spirit of, I'm gonna figure out a way to make that happen. And so what did you do first?
First is I put the Holley high rim on it.
And that's the intake?
Yeah, the intake. Yep. I did a cam at the same time and the rear wheel drive swap. So I pulled the all-wheel drive system out, put a 4L80 behind it. I had a 2000 Tahoe Limited, which is still like the square body Tahoes. But once I got this and realized how easy these are to drive compared to those, the feeling, the rack and pinion steering versus gearbox, it was a no-brainer. So I sold the Tahoe, started building this.
And the 4L80 is the automatic
transmission. Yeah.
Pretty smooth though. I know that those things can hold some serious power.
Yeah, factory they hold probably upwards of 800, if not more.
And speaking of factory, you're actually using the stock computer as well.
Yeah, still the stock 2006 ECM and TCM. Not the best, but
yeah, but it works.
It works. Yeah.
Did you ever have a moment where you're like, I'm gonna go turbo versus supercharged, or?
No, I've never been a huge supercharger guy. I like cleanliness. A Pro Charger, yeah, you can go pretty clean on, but supercharger with like the LSA stuff, not so much. Yeah. And when I actually started building it, I was like, I need to go clean with the engine bay if I'm going to do it.
Yeah, it is very clean. There's not much in there, and everything that's in there is meant to do some work.
Yeah, I started building Hondas quite some time ago, and the shaved bays, the tuck bays, stuff like that. And believe it or not, I brought a lot of like Japanese style to this when I was building it.
Yeah, I kind of got that vibe too, like, especially the turbo versus super.
Yeah.
That's more of a import type of thing. I am actually a little jealous because he has the same setup as my four-rotor with a massive turbo and a little dump right out the side, but listen to how quiet it is. I could drive for hours like this. What was one of the hardest challenges with this car?
I'd say like the wire tuck on the engine bay, putting the fuse box in the fender that's in front of you there. Yeah. Extending the complete chassis harness and engine harness over 4 feet, in my living room. Yeah. Fully loomed everything myself, depenned everything. I'm like, oh, this will fit. Yeah. Like, get it all together and end up, instead of mounting the ECU and TCM inside the car like I originally wanted to, it's actually mounted underneath the driver's seat under the car. So kind of why I don't like driving in the rain a little bit, but it is protected a little bit better now.
Yeah. Do you miss all-wheel drive or?
No, I was never a fan of the all-wheel drive just because how hard it is to work on. Yeah. That was another hard thing is taking the front diff out while the motor's still in the car. Big pry bars and lots of swear words.
Yeah, and how much power do you think this thing makes?
On full boost, 22 pounds is high boost. it makes over 1,000. On the dyno, it was spinning at 5,000 RPMs. It was spinning at like 950. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, she moved. There's another controversial thing I'll say is that I enjoy this being an automatic, because when you have a violent sequential transmission like my 4-rotor, or a clunky TVT6 manual face-plated, race transmission, you start to really ruin the streetability of that power. Now, of course, there's dual clutch nowadays. That would be something that's the spiritual successor of putting a transmission like this in a race car, but you still can't deny the amount of power that an automatic holds, and of course the sort of violence that it puts down at a drag strip. It's kind of what I like about this build is that you said, hey, there wasn't anything that was particularly challenging, and that's, I think, what I like is sometimes we go too complicated and then we build cars that we either can't enjoy or never finish.
For sure.
And this thing, you get to enjoy it. Yeah, I really have like a special place in my heart for these. Not be able to have a race car and your daily driver, but you could do both in one of these. Like that was such a cool, like, I was jealous of people that had these things.
Yeah, a lot of people call them the SUV Vet,
Yeah.
It is. It's LS3 setup from the factory.
Yeah.
Very similar, but obviously probably almost twice the weight. But still.
Yeah, it still could sound good and look good doing it.
Yeah. Just love the sound and the feel of the turbo kicking in on this
100%. Oh man, I mean, superchargers do sound great, but
they do.
The whistle from a turbo, it speaks to you. It feels right.
Kind of weary of the new tires on here. I've never ran these. These are Porsche only size.
Oh, okay.
That I went from a 305 3519 to a 295 4019 to get a little bit of taller sidewall.
Right, yeah.
So I don't know how these are going to act under full boost on the road,
Yeah.
Maybe when we do a burnout later.
Yeah.
Definitely still need to do alignment on this thing though. Oh. Not as bad as yours, but
yeah, okay. I was supposed to say, hey, don't worry, but you already knew my history of alignments.
Well, I mean, I'm certified in alignment, so.
Oh, are you really? That's awesome.
Take care of my baby.
I will. This car is meant for one man, and it is not me. Oh, I already love this. I already love it. I always feel the pressure when I get behind the wheel of other people's cars, especially the high horsepower ones. And for this one, I'm going to be really careful with my right foot. I might not be the owner or the intended driver of this car. I'm sitting further back and the seat does not move, which I respect because it's his car and he built it for himself. What I can tell you is that this thing's super comfortable. Like, aside from the fact that he's got an extra 20 gallons of fuel in the back because he's on ethanol and there's not an ethanol station nearby, or that his front suspension is an inch lower than he really intended it to be. So both will bottom out if I hit a bump hard enough. The ride is very compliant. Yeah, that's a commitment. That gas pedal's a commitment. Once you start going down, that's a party. Acceleration without even getting up to speed is so intoxicating. Like right now I'm at 25 miles an hour, well below the speed limit, and just getting back up to the speed limit. Open the sunroof. It opened the sliding cover for the sunroof. That I couldn't say it better than that myself. I really think the Trailblazer is probably the most American-tuned vehicle that we've ever featured, because it's such an American thing to have an SUV. It's such an American thing to have a performance version of an SUV. It's such an American thing to tune that performance SUV. I mean, that is the definition. And of course, love it or hate it, the LS is such an amazing platform that you can do all of this with a reasonable budget. And I do say reasonable, but you can save up and you can make this your dream car. You can build this. And if what you built puts a smile on your face, that makes it all worth it. That is my favorite car to drive. Tom and I had an absolute blast driving this thing all through the hills, but he says there's a little bit more in it to show me. Wow! Wow! I'm like staying on the edge of the smoke. That's amazing. Well, there you go. That's American Tune.